Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like no matter what you do, he just doesn't value you? What if I told you there's a savage way to flip the script, a way so powerful that he'll actually crawl back begging for your attention? The truth is, most women waste their energy chasing, explaining, and reacting. But what I'm about to show you is completely different. It's not about manipulation. It's about power, peace, and respect. Stick with me, because in the next few minutes, you'll discover how to turn silence into your ultimate weapon and make him realize what he's losing without saying a single word. Silence is power, not the weak kind of silence where you're hurting and pretending you don't care, not the kind where you're secretly waiting for a message while staring at your phone. I'm talking about controlled silence, intentional silence, the kind that comes from self-respect. When you stop reacting to every little thing he says or does, you shift the entire dynamic because reactions are emotional currency. Every time you argue, explain, defend, or chase, you're investing energy into someone who hasn't proven they deserve it. When you stop chasing, something powerful happens. You break the pattern. If he's used to you double texting, asking for clarity, trying to fix things, or always reaching out first, your sudden calm changes the rhythm. You're no longer predictable. And when you're no longer predictable, you become powerful. Silence removes the drama. It removes the emotional access he may have been taking for granted. It forces him to sit with his own thoughts instead of feeding off your reactions. Let your absence speak louder than your emotions ever could. Tears, long paragraphs, and emotional speeches might feel good in the moment, but they rarely create respect. Calm distance does. When you pull your energy back and focus on yourself, you create space. And in that space, realization grows. He starts to feel what life is like without your constant presence, without your reassurance, without your attention. And attention is valuable. It's not something to hand out endlessly. Silence also protects your dignity. There's strength in not needing the last word. There's confidence in not explaining yourself to someone committed to misunderstanding you. When you stop reacting, you show emotional maturity. You show that you don't need chaos to feel connected. You show that your peace matters more than winning an argument. That kind of energy is rare. And rare things are respected. But here's the truth. Silence isn't about punishment. It's about alignment. It's about stepping back and asking yourself whether this connection is truly meeting your standards. When you stop chasing, you give him the opportunity to step forward. And if he doesn't, then your silence saved you time. Because the right man doesn't need to be chased. He steps up when he feels your value. So don't speak out of desperation. Don't react out of fear. Let your calm, controlled absence remind him exactly what he risks losing. Shift your energy, not your standards. This is one of the most important principles to understand in any relationship, especially when dealing with someone who takes your presence for granted. Too often we think that making ourselves more available, compromising our boundaries, or lowering our standards will fix the problems in a relationship. It won't. When you lower your standards, you give permission for behavior that doesn't honor your worth. The right approach is to shift your energy while keeping your standards intact. That means you withdraw unnecessary access without withdrawing your self-respect. You stay calm, you stay composed, you focus on becoming the best version of yourself. Pulling back access isn't about being cold or manipulative. It's about clarity. It's about showing that your time, your attention, and your presence are valuable. When someone is used to getting everything they want from you without effort, they rarely stop to appreciate it. But when you intentionally redirect your energy, you create a natural balance. You stop over-investing in someone who doesn't reciprocate. You stop waiting for texts, calls, or explanations that may never come. And instead, you invest that energy into yourself, your growth, and your happiness. Staying calm in the process is equally important. Shifting your energy doesn't mean reacting emotionally or making impulsive decisions. It's about being grounded, centered, and confident in your choices. Calmness signals strength. It shows that you're not desperate for validation. You're not constantly testing to see if they care. Instead, you're present in your own life, living on your own terms. Your peace becomes a natural boundary that protects you from unnecessary stress and disappointment. Focusing on leveling up is the final crucial element. Use the space you've created to enhance yourself emotionally, mentally, and physically. Pursue goals you've been putting off. Surround yourself with people who elevate you. Learn new skills, develop new habits, and rediscover your passions. When you level up, you not only become more fulfilled, but you also raise your value in the eyes of others. The energy you shift outwardly becomes a reflection of your inner growth, and no one can ignore someone who is evolving and thriving. Remember, shifting your energy while maintaining your standards sends a clear message. You're not bending to please anyone. You're not compromising who you are. You're creating an environment where only those who respect and value you remain close. And that's how you attract the right people while protecting your peace. Your standards remain your foundation. Your energy becomes your power, and your life becomes unstoppable. Scarcity creates value. It's a principle that applies to every relationship, every interaction, and even life itself. When you're constantly available, when you answer every call, reply to every message instantly, and make yourself accessible at all times, people often take it for granted. They forget that your time, attention, and presence are limited resources. They assume you'll always be there, that they don't have to earn your energy, and that your boundaries are flexible. But when you step back and make yourself a little less available, suddenly they start noticing. They start realizing that what they had easy access to is no longer at their fingertips. And that realization is powerful. When you pull back, you're not punishing anyone or playing games. You're simply asserting your worth. Being scarce is about prioritizing yourself over someone else's immediate comfort or attention. It's about understanding that your presence is a privilege, not a guarantee. When you stop being constantly available, it forces the other person to evaluate how much they truly value you. Suddenly, your absence creates space for reflection, and in that space, clarity grows. They see what life looks like without your energy, without your support, without your attention. That gap makes them think twice about taking you for granted. Scarcity also creates a sense of intrigue. When someone is used to having constant access to you, your absence feels unusual. It's unfamiliar, and human nature drives people to pay attention to what they can't easily have. That's why making yourself slightly scarce doesn't just highlight your value, it generates respect. People start recognizing the effort it takes to earn your time and energy, and that effort becomes meaningful. They begin to appreciate what they overlooked when it was always freely available. Another important point is that scarcity protects your emotional well-being. When you're always available, you're constantly on call for someone else's moods, whims, or attention. That can be exhausting and can diminish your self-worth. Pulling back allows you to reclaim your energy, refocus on your goals, and prioritize your happiness. You're no longer living for someone else's validation. You're living for yourself, and that independence is magnetic. Ultimately, scarcity is not about being manipulative. or cruel. It's about creating a natural balance. When you make yourself a little less available, you elevate your presence and show that your attention is valuable. People begin to respect you more, cherish you more, and recognize what they risk losing. Scarcity reminds others that you are not just a convenience. They are fortunate to have you. And that realization shifts the power dynamic in your favor, ensuring that you are respected, valued, and never taken for granted. Detach and upgrade. This is not about playing mind games or manipulating someone into feeling guilty. It's not about punishing or testing them. True detachment comes from a place of self-respect and clarity. It's about recognizing your own value and refusing to compromise it for someone who doesn't meet your standards. When you detach, you stop investing unnecessary energy into people or situations that drain you. You stop reacting to every little message, call, or action that once consumed your thoughts. Detachment is a conscious choice to protect your peace and prioritize your growth over someone else's inconsistency. Upgrading yourself is the natural companion to detachment. It's not just about ignoring. It's about redirecting that energy toward becoming better, stronger, and more aligned with your goals. While some might see ignoring as passive or cold, in reality, it's an active step toward creating a life that reflects your worth. You focus on your passions, your skills, your health, and your relationships that truly uplift you. You grow emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. You become someone who is harder to overlook because your life is full, meaningful, and independent. Upgrading is about being so confident in your own path that no one else's approval can shake your foundation. Detachment also protects your mental and emotional space. Too often, people get caught in cycles of chasing validation, seeking reassurance, and trying to control outcomes. This creates stress, anxiety, and self-doubt. By detaching, you reclaim control over your own energy. You stop giving power to actions or words that don't align with your peace. You stop overanalyzing why someone isn't behaving the way you want them to. You recognize that your calm, your dignity, and your self-respect are far more important than any temporary satisfaction from engagement. Ignoring in this context is not cruel. It's strategic and self-preserving. It signals that your presence is a privilege, not a guarantee. It communicates that you value yourself enough to set boundaries and honor your own worth. And while you focus on your own growth, you naturally attract people who are aligned with your energy, who respect your boundaries, and who contribute positively to your life. Ultimately, detaching and upgrading transforms the dynamic of your relationships. You are no longer defined by others' choices or behaviors. You are defined by your actions, your standards, and your continuous improvement. You create a life where your happiness and peace are non-negotiable. This is not just ignoring someone. It's stepping into a higher version of yourself. It's protecting your energy, elevating your worth, and making it clear that only those who respect you deserve a seat in your life. Detach, upgrade, and watch your life transform. In the end, mastering the art of silence, detachment, and self-respect is the ultimate power move. It's not about cruelty or manipulation. It's about protecting your peace and elevating your worth. When you stop reacting, stop chasing, and stop compromising your standards, you create space for clarity, growth, and self-discovery. Scarcity teaches value, calmness signals strength, and detachment ensures that your energy is invested wisely. By focusing on leveling up, prioritizing yourself, and maintaining boundaries, you shift the dynamic from dependence to respect. Men only chase what they realize they might lose. And when you embody confidence independence, and self-respect. You naturally demand it. The goal isn't to make anyone crawl. It's to make yourself untouchable, to radiate worth, and to build a life where your presence is earned, not taken for granted. True power lies in choosing yourself first and refusing to settle for anything less than you deserve.